Green Moor has a diverse community with a broad knowledge base. Team Green Moor has been able to access this bank of knowledge for wildlife and environmental issues, horticulture, or the history and heritage of the area.
The main floral plantings are a mix of colourful annual bedding plants, perennial plants and shrubs, and importantly indigenous wildflowers and grasses. These are complemented by hanging baskets along Green Moor Road and Chapel Lane. Our primary objective with the floral plant selection was to provide variety and a spectacle of colour and sensory experience, whilst providing an abundant source of nectar and food for our local insects and bird life that continues throughout the seasons. Community children have been actively involved with the floral displays, planting bulbs, annuals and wildflowers, painting butterflies, insect cutouts, bird boxes and pebbles.
This was the main source of water for Green Moor until mains water reached the village in 1953. The structure is unusual as it was built from the bottom up, from the floor of the quarry, which was subsequently filled in. On open days, visitors can descend a 30-foot ladder and 24 stone steps to the wellhead 50 feet below the road. This year, the front wall was rebuilt to house an alpine flower bed.
At the centre of the village, just outside the Millennium Green, are the stocks, which were resited here in 1937. The area around the stocks is mowed and kept tidy, with colourful planters added in the spring and summer months.
Worleytop Forge was built in the parish of Hunshell around 1640. It is the only surviving water-driven heavy iron forge in Britain and was at its peak in the late 1900s, making wrought iron railway axles. Always at the centre of the local community, it is now open to the public and run by volunteers.
Ivy Millennium Green sits at the heart of the village and overlooks the Trunks Valley. This area, with its story stones and views, is a place of well-being and contemplation. It allows the visitor to enjoy an outstanding view and take pleasure in the varied wildlife. The new interpretive board informs the viewer of what can be seen here.
On three, so you don't hurt yourself. Wherever you're comfortable. 1, 2, 3. Up. So we're turning.
Developments here for this year have been new borders and a rockery. The rocky land makes it a difficult task to dig, so to keep this a sustainable area, the theme has been kept simple and in keeping with its natural rocky scheme. The incredible edible theme has been incorporated into the green, using baskets, giving these foods an unusual ornamental value. This small village offers a wide-ranging variety of landscapes and environments. There were 5 large quarries around the village, and the extraction of Green Moor stone was the major industry here until the 1930s. A derrick crane of the type represented in the Millennium Green would lift the stone, Quarry tubs running on iron rails would move the stone to the waiting crushers or to the carts for shipment.
The Centenary Garden is one of 3 locations around the village where, in addition to our floral displays, we are growing herbs, soft fruit, fruit trees and vegetables. Growing herbs, fruit and vegetables gave us an opportunity to engage with and involve the children from our surrounding community. We did this by involving them in the planting and picking of the produce, through a competition to design signage for the plots, and through providing support for their own school garden. Through this involvement, we hope to actively encourage the children to become more aware of where the food comes from, to get them to taste and hopefully eat a wider range of fruits and vegetables, and also to aspire to become future gardeners and get involved in their community and environment.
Salt was transported from Cheshire by packhorse trains over the Pennines and through Green Moor to Rotherham and eastwards. It was the most important commodity traded from Roman times until the early 18th century, when sea traffic took over and demand declined, as farmers no longer needed to preserve their meat from their slaughtered stock.
Our farming heritage can be traced back through many generations. Because of its hilly nature and thin soil, Hunshelf has always been an area of mixed farming. Present-day farmers have embraced modern methods, technologies and diversification. Their current activities include a variety of arable crops, for example barley, wheat, potatoes, alongside livestock, sheep, dairy and beef cattle, water buffalo, equestrian livery, poultry and small animals for the pet trade.
As we leave the cultivated nucleus of our village, we enter the Delf, formerly one of the many quarries in the area, now a place of natural cared for beauty with many and varied aspects, one of which is the new interactive trail.
The interactive nature trail has been developed with the aid of a Tesco Bags of Help grant. Starting in the children's playground, it follows a route through the Millennium Green into the Delf and Delf Quarry. The route is marked by a number of waymarkers and information display boards. The waymarkers are topped with an etching depicting local flora and fauna for the children to take wax crayon impressions, whilst the information boards illustrate the flora, fauna and bird life to be seen in that location. The trail will provide the children with an educational resource to give them a better understanding of their environment and the natural world, so that together we can work to preserve, protect and improve it for the benefit of everyone.
The wildlife habitat. Previously, brambles and nettles. Here, children and wildlife interact to learn about insects and woodland. The natural shade, pierced by dappled sunshine, reflects on the canopy of rowan, oak and sycamore, creating a surreal atmosphere for learning.
The regionally important geological site in the Delf is important as it clearly shows the Green Moor rock, which is a thickly bedded fine-grained sandstone. It was extensively quarried around the village of Green Moor until the last quarry closed in 1936. Much of the stone was transported to London, where it was used for flagstones, those around Parliament being Green Moor stone.
The Ferry Trail, a brand new trail created from memories of long-lost pathways in the dells, called the Cowboy Trail and Ferry Glen. Children love adventure, and this was the goal, to entice adults, and mainly children, to the new trail. There are twists and turns, dens and fairy doors, all skirted by impregnable undergrowth where creatures live, and possibly fairies, watched by the influx of new bird life attracted to this avenue of shaded joy and mystery. Once a playing field, but then an overgrown, neglected, boggy area, the Dells Field is now a haven for young and old to relax and play, or watch the swallows swoop along the grass tops, edged by wild grasses and flowers, nestled all around by trees. It is a true jewel in Green Moor's crown, a place to be shared by all.
The village of Green Moor has a unique and enviable variation in landscape and habitat. Our village gardens are bordered by a mixture of open farmland and woodlands. Sites of special interest include the Delf and the Isle of Skye, which both contain an isolated area of important heathland. These areas support a wide range of animal and plant life. The Delf also has open grassland and mixed woodland, which combined with the heathland provide a home and source of food for a multitude of wildflowers, insects, invertebrates, birds and animals. Currently, Green Moor is an oasis for nationally threatened species such as the hedgehog, the brown hare, birds such as the tree sparrow and the grey partridge. As a community, we are doing our best to encourage their continued success in and around the village.
The Isle of Skye quarry was one of the earliest quarries in the area, and some of the largest stone was obtained from it. The quarry closed in 1910 and was filled in the 1950s. It was fortunate that the stone stacks, remaining from the last days of working, were still there when the community managed to purchase the site in 2008. The largest stone stacks are our parish symbol and are used on our marker posts around the village.
The Isle of Skye is an elevated area of grassland, heathland and scrub, and this habitat provides a home for a variety of insects, butterflies and birds. A number of species of birds breed here, including meadow pipit, linnet, yellowhammer and whitethroat. The spectacular views across agricultural fields often provide views of farmland birds such as little owl, lapwing and curlew. The incredible viewpoint at the summit over the Little Don Valley is an ideal position to see migrating skeins of geese, singing skylarks and soaring birds of prey.
The viewpoint. Would you like to see York Minster, some 40 miles distant? The viewpoint, created by a local artist, enables you to do just that. Locals say, on a clear day with binoculars, you can see the stained glass windows. Admire the views through a full 360 degrees, and don't you feel on top of the world?
From playground to woodland, heathland to history, each project has been embraced with conviction and passion. The core group has planned these projects and the community has embraced and helped take them forward to conclusion. All of this with the complete backing of Hunshelf Parish Council and Barnsley Council enterprises, particularly Twigs. The involvement of those mentioned has been a huge benefit, and our endeavours could not have been completed without their help.